855-450-FREE. Another great site, statelesssweets.com. Jillian is on the line with us, fresh from the jail cell. Welcome to Free Talk Live.
Yes, I am. Hi, thank you.
You're a criminal.
Yeah. I am.
Jailbird.
Supposed alleged criminal. Yes, I am.
We were talking with our listeners about what had happened, and for those that weren't tuned in over the last night, you have been picked up while you were on your way to the Porcupine Freedom Festival in Texas for what I heard was a bull pack of cannabis. What can you tell us about your story?
Sure. Well, I have been charged with a third-degree felony for...
A what? A third-degree felony?
Good Lord.
Right, a third-degree felony.
Is third degree worse than a first degree?
No.
Possession of hashish.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man, they got the hash. Damn.
They allegedly.
They allegedly got the hash.
They got something they believe to be hash.
Sure, yes.
Looks like mud.
So wait, so it was just one felony charge or more than one?
I believe that I'm facing, just a ticket as well for, I guess, having cannabis in my car, allegedly having cannabis in my car as well, along with paraphernalia. So I have, I think I just have a ticket for that. I'm not sure if they're going to be pressing, is it going to be a misdemeanor or anything? I'm not sure about the laws yet. I haven't.
How did you get
really
picked up? Was
look
it
at my computer yet.
were you pulled over for a speeding ticket, or what was the thing?
Great question. I was actually coming around the mountain, and there's a nice border patrol set up right there. They have drug sniffing dogs.
Internal checkpoint. Jillian, I'd like you to stick with us. Can you hang on for a bit?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we're going to bring back Jillian Batty. She is the proprietor of Stateless Sweets, and girl can make some great sweets. She was on her way to the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and I wonder if the cops stole her sweets, too. I bet they did. 855-4... This looks like contraband to me.
Suspicious.
More coming up. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you looking for camping, hunting, or shooting gear? ManVentureOutpost.com carries knives, ammunition, scopes, binoculars, laser sights, fish finders, and boating equipment from manufacturers like Aimpoint, Bushnell, Otterbox, Crimson Trace, K-Bar, Remington, Streamlight, Winchester, and more. ManVentureOutpost.com. Family owned and members of the Better Business Bureau. Prices so low, some can't be advertised. Get an additional 5% off with coupon code FTL. Get it quick. Get it from ManVentureOutpost.com.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want via the toll-free number at 855-450-FREE. SACL CAI toll-free line. That allows you to call in and take control of the airwaves. Here with you tonight, it's Ian,
Michelle,
and Mark.
We invite you to our website over at freetalklive.com. We have the Shrine of Female Listeners with dozens of ladies who've taken the time to send in their validated photo or video showing their listeners of the program. Shrine.freetalklive.com will get you there. Details are there as to how you can get on the Shrine. Or you can just look at it. Shrine.freetalklive.com. Also, plainboards.com. You need to know about them. Plain. Plainboards.com. Maybe you run your own website. Perhaps you're a blogger. And maybe you'd like to have an anonymous, free-to-use message board on your site. No more of that privacy-invading message board stuff where you got to fill out information to post things. Plainboards is all about getting rid of that stuff. You can just go to plainboards.com, type in the name of the board you want to start up, and it's there for you. It's created literally as soon as you click the go button. I mean, it's right there.
That quick.
So go to plainboards.com. It's free, and it's yours if you claim it. So go now and claim yours because once one name is claimed, then you can't use the same name twice, obviously, or you can't use somebody else's name if they've already come and used that name prior to you. So go to plainboards.com, lock down your board name, and put it on your website, or just share it privately amongst a few friends. Maybe you just would rather have something that's more intimate rather than something that members of the public can access. You can do that, too, with plainboards.com. So once again, plainboards.com. It is totally free. 855-450-FREE. That's the SACL CAI toll-free line. Jillian Batty is with us. She's calling from Texas. And you were arrested. Was it Wednesday? No, was it Tuesday night? When did this go down, Jillian? You got. It
was actually Tuesday. I believe it was around 2 p.m. Central.
Now, I had heard that you were driving from your home in California to the Porcupine Freedom Festival, but that you were going through Texas because you were to pick up your son. Had you picked him up at this point?
No, I hadn't, thank goodness. That's one thing I'm grateful for, that he was not in the car.
Yeah, that certainly would have complicated matters had that been the case. They stopped you at a checkpoint. Was this one of the permanent checkpoints, like a permanent installation, or one of the roving ones?
It was a permanent roadblock.
So so what was that like? What was the scene like for you? Because was this the first time you'd been stopped at one of these, or is this something you've done before?
Yeah, honestly, I've only ever traveled up and down California, so we don't really have those. So I think unless you're going over the border to Mexico or something. Mm-hmm. So it was the first time I encountered it. It was basically just a big traffic jam. As I got closer, there were a lot of cameras and a lot of people.
Cameras. I'm sorry, Jillian, but cameras of people being pulled over who were recording, or cameras being pointed at those that were getting pulled over by cops?
Right. It was actually just like a row of cameras on the left side of the road that were like permanently set up there.
Ooh,
creepy.
We're watching you.
Very, very, very creepy, yes.
That way you couldn't throw anything out of the car without them catching it on film.
Yep.
Sure, right, yeah. So, I got up there. They said that the dog alerted them to whatever.
You have Mexicans in the car? I mean, it's an immigration checkpoint, right?
So wait, you pulled over and they immediately told you a dog had alerted, or did they walk a dog around the car when you'd pulled over?
It's basically people go through it and the dog walks in the front of each of the cars and the side of each of the cars, and they said that the dog alerted them right away as soon as they went past my car. Wow. And then they immediately asked me to pull over. I got out of the car really quickly. I didn't grab my purse, my keys, or anything. I just had my cell phone and my ID they told me to bring. They said, don't bring your purse, and I said, okay.
Were you rolling any video on your cell phone at this point?
No, unfortunately, I was not.
Darn.
I really need to.
Well, it sounded like they had this operation down to a well-oiled machine, and it wasn't. I mean, they didn't need her consent at this point. I mean,
well, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, it's. I'm not critiquing you. When the pressure's on, it's hard to remember to do these things.
Yes.
But I'm just making a suggestion for anybody listening that gets into this situation. If you're coming up on a checkpoint, that's the time when you want to think to yourself, oh. Let me get my phone out. Hopefully you've already pre-installed. Do you have a smartphone?
I do. I have an Android.
Here's what I'd recommend. Obviously, Android, iPhone, all these things come with camcorder app built in. So you can always use that, worst case. But you can also pull up an app, like a free app like Quick.com, QIK.com. Also, Bambuser is another one, Bambuser. Bambuser's, these are two different. There are a few others, I think, but these are two of the bigger ones. Free apps. You can download it, install it on your phone. You get an account. So it's going to take you a few minutes to set this up. But once it's set up, then it's just a matter of launching the app and pressing the record button. And at that point, whatever it is that you're experiencing, presuming you have a data connection on your phone at that location, it will upload it to the internet as it happens. So that's something where you can be rolling up to the checkpoint and have that thing going as soon as you.
What do you think the value would have been to have that happening at this checkpoint?
You're documenting what's happening to you. I mean, there's huge value in that. They're going to claim you said something. It's going to be on the video, whether you said that or not. Or you're going to claim they said something. It's going to be on the video.
It's good for that, but I always feel like in those circumstances, when you've got a camera out in their face, it scares them. And
great, let them be scared.
They're going to treat you worse. That's why I like the Freedom Cam at freedomcam.net, is they don't necessarily know that thing's going.
Well, you better tell them it's going.
Yeah, because otherwise you've got a RICO problem there.
In a lot of, I don't know if it's RICO, but it's wiretapping possibility of a charge there. So I don't know what the laws are in Texas as far as recording two-party consent or one-party consent. But yeah, I wouldn't take that risk. I would let them know they are being recorded. And if you look at Checkpoint USA, which is a great website, we actually had Terry in here from Checkpoint USA one time. Mark, were you here for that episode,
sure.
Right? I mean, Terry is not afraid to put that camera up there. And
Terry didn't have a big old, didn't have any alleged hashish in his car either.
Well, I see where you're coming from, but clearly it didn't help her to not have the camera out. So let's continue with your story. You come up to this checkpoint, they walk the dog around and say it alerted, and then they ask you to pull over. Did it seem like they were asking or demanding?
They were demanding.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. They said, you need to pull over right there. The dog alerted us. Your car smells like, some narcotics.
Man, that's a hot-nosed dog to be able to smell a car like that.
Well, that's their job, I guess. But
yeah. I still have doubts that dogs can actually do that, but whatever.
pretty scary situation, especially depending on how the product is packaged and all that. That's also a factor.
At this point, if they say the dog alerted, the dog alerted.
And they've got guns, so if you try to get out of there, they're probably going to shoot you.
Lots of guns, taser guns, batons, anything you name it. They had those right there.
And these are federal agents, correct? Not Texas boys?
The back of their uniform said federal, and I now have a federal ID number, so I'm assuming, they were federal agents.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Federal agents pulling over people for pot. It's ridiculous.
Yep. So they pull you over to the secondary search area, and then what?
Then I get questioned a little bit by the officer that pulls me aside. He looks at my ID, looks up information. He tells me that I'm being arrested. And I say, okay. We walk inside. I don't get handcuffed. They can obviously see I'm a very peaceful person. I'm going along with whatever they say. I get inside, and after probably about an hour of sitting there and, get all my information being gathered, probably about an hour and a half after that, I read my Miranda rights. And then I am put into a cell by myself for about 6 hours.
We'll come back with more here if you can stick with us. Hang on. Jillian Batty's with us from StatelessSuites.com. 855-450-FREE. Arrested en route to Porkfest, facing a felony for some alleged hashish. More coming up. It's Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Maybe enough time for your thoughts, your calls. 855-450-3733. You can join us on our website over at freetalklive.com. We've got a lot of features. Archives go all the way back to late 2006, and we've got the brand new SoundCloud page, which is featuring all of those archives, plus more. Now we've got SoundCloud on board with us, we've got unlimited space. So we'll start to use it in, unusual ways that haven't been done heretofore with our podcast. Like, Mark, you're working on breaking out the Edgington Post into its own sort of separate upload. I don't know how that's coming along.
Bumpers are being produced.
Perfect. All right, so that is in the works. And, of course, I've been uploading Radio Free Keene News as well. So you can see our SoundCloud page over at soundcloud.com/freetalklive. There's also a link in the listen and share section on the left-hand side of freetalklive.com. So you can easily link to our SoundCloud page from there. As we go back to the phones and your thoughts, Jillian Batty is with us. She's the proprietor of Stateless Sweets at statelesssuites.com, and hopefully you'll continue to be able to make delicious goodies for folks, because right now you are being threatened with probably a scary amount of time in a prison cell because they allegedly found hashish in your vehicle as you were traveling to the Porcupine Freedom Festival and unfortunately hit one of those permanent checkpoints that they have set up. For a lot of Americans, they don't know this is even happening because it's not happening in most places. It's only happening mostly around the southern or northern borders. And then all of a sudden, while you're driving, you come up on one of these. There's no getting away. You try turning around, they're going to pull you over. And so you went through it. And they walked a dog around. The dog they claimed the dog noted something was in your car, and they then pulled you out, arrested, presumably did a search, and then put you under arrest.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about your story.
I'm going to make this a little quick because I'm at dinner with my parents. But,
okay, thanks.
So I was basically at Border Patrol for about 6 hours. They were nice enough. I was thrown into a cage, but at least I was provided with water and a blanket. After 6 hours, the sheriff came and picked me up. He drove me by himself in his car to the jail. I was never handcuffed, by the way. They could obviously see I was a very peaceful person. I get to the jail. I am dressed right away, and I overhear one of the ladies say, basically, there was a flood of calls coming in for me, and that because of that, they were annoyed, and they should throw me in solitary.
Wow.
So they had me dressed, and they put me in this room. It has a toilet. There's running water. I don't have a mattress, a blanket. I don't have toilet paper.
Oh, jeez.
And I was in there for about 6.5 hours without anything. I was so tired, exhausted. I had been driving since 4 a.m. that day, and I couldn't fall asleep. I was trying to, eventually, about an hour before I actually got moved to the jail cell, or the cell block, excuse me, they gave me a cup of water, and I swear they took the ice out of the urinal and gave it to me. Yeah, it was really gross.
Was this your first time in jail?
No, I did do one night about a couple years ago. Actually, it was the anniversary of when I went to jail a couple years ago.
Happy anniversary!
You're back.
Right? Yeah, I was dealing with PTS. It's nice. Yeah.
Was this jail worse or better than the previous one?
I would say it was better because I knew a little bit more about what was going on.
You knew what to expect.
I knew what to expect.
Now, we had people on the outside. We were making calls. I made one of them, and I know a number of other folks. There was an article over at copblock.org about the situation, which included the number of the sheriff's department. And do you regret the calls that came in, or I mean, because some of us were kind of concerned for you. Obviously, we feel like calling. A lot of people feel like calling benefits the
Call
situation.
floods have worked up to this point.
Well, I really appreciate it because the whole time I was there, I knew that you guys were bugging them, and that made me feel so good because I just felt so peaceful about everybody thinking about me and, being on the outside and knowing where I'm at and, just supporting me. And
better than feeling alone.
I had to go through,
better than feeling alone and forgotten, as most people are when they go to jail.
Exactly. So, I mean, it was nice to know that everyone was there, and I can't even begin to express because I haven't even been able to start to see what has happened yet. I haven't had access to my computer yet, but I will tonight, and I can't wait to get to, thanking everybody. But I just want to mention real quick before I go, I really, really, really need help with these legal fees, attaining a lawyer right now. I'm not rich. So, I mean, if anybody feels like
you were scrimping and saving
to help with.
You were scrimping and saving to get to Porkfest, right?
Yeah. So this is on top of that, and I unfortunately can't make it to Porkfest now because of that. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to even make candy to send over there to sell because that was my next plan was to send candy out there. So at least my business, my presence can be there. But unfortunately, I can't. And I don't have the link in front of me for the tip-in. I don't know if you want to mention that, Ian. Or,
that link was posted to the Free Talk Live Facebook page. So folks that go to facebook.freetalklive.com will be able to find the post about Jillian there and the link to the chip-in for folks that want to help about that. You said you're facing a felony charge over the hashish, also a regular misdemeanor possession charge as well. And a felony, that's probably, 3 to 7 years in prison. So this is pretty serious. I've heard that you're planning on fighting it, but they may offer you a plea deal. I mean, is this something where you really want to come back to Texas to continue doing this if the plea deal's decent?
Right now, it's kind of up in the air. I'm going to, I'm hooked up with Never Take a Plea. Right now it's quiet and everything, so I'm hoping to get some more advice from everybody and seek out, liberty.
I'm sure you'll have a lot to think about here over the next few months as this develops, and I hope you'll keep in touch with us and let us know what happens.
But you have a child, you said, Jillian, and as far as I've had this hard line, thing of not processing or not registering my cars or whatever, but I really came kind of out after my kids were old enough to fend for themselves. I don't begrudge anyone for, who has anyone that has small children from, doing what they need to do to take care of their first priority, which is their child. And, a friend of mine was busted with 150 pounds in Oklahoma. I know that Oklahoma is not the same as Texas, but they didn't confiscate his truck. It was a brand new truck. They took the weed.
Lucky.
And he got 3 months.
He took a plea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're new to the criminal justice system, you can probably end up getting a decent plea and making this go away. Because I know that you had been looking at moving to New Hampshire.
This is the second day. We don't need to talk about pleas right now. She's got plenty of time.
I'm not giving her advice. We're just talking about options. And people, she's not the only person in this situation. I mean, people are getting arrested all around this country for similar situations. Hey, enjoy the dinner, Jillian, and I'm sure it's a lot better than what you've been eating over the last 48 hours. So. Thanks.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Sorry we won't be seeing you